Hello everyone, in this video I am going to tell Bhagavad Gita shloka number 7.15. In the previous shloka, Lord Krishna told that his divine energy, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto him can easily cross it. Let us begin with this shloka. न मां दुष्कृतिनो मूढाः प्रपद्यन्ते नराधमाः माययापहृतज्ञाना आसुरं भावमाश्रिताः. Not mam, unto me, dushkrutinah, miscreants, moodaha, foolish, prapadyante, surrender, naradhamaha, lowest among mankind, mayaya, by the illusory energy, apahruta, stolen, jnanaha, whose knowledge, asuram, demonic, bhavam, nature, ashritaha, accepting. The whole meaning is, those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. It is said in the Bhagavad Gita that simply by surrendering oneself unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, one can surmount the stringent laws of material nature. At this point, a question arises. How is it that educated philosophers, scientists and businessmen, administrators and all the leaders of ordinary men do not surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the all-powerful personality of Godhead? Mukti, or liberation from the laws of material nature, is sought by the leaders of mankind in different ways and with great plans and perseverance for a great many years and births. But if that same liberation is possible by surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality and Godhead, then why don't we use these intelligent and hard-working leaders adopt this simple method? The Gita answers this question very frankly. Those really learned leaders of society like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Kapila, the Kumaras, Manu, Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Janaka, Prahlada, Bali and later on Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and many others who are faithful philosophers, politicians, educators, scientists, etc., surrender unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Person, the all-powerful authority. Those who are not actually philosophers, scientists, educators, administrators, etc., but who pose themselves as such for material gain, do not accept the plan or path of the Supreme Lord. They have no idea of God. They simply manufacture their own worldly plans and consequently complicate the problems of material existence in their vain attempts to solve them. Because material energy, nature, is so powerful, it can resist the unauthorized plans of the atheists and baffle the knowledge of planning commissions. The atheistic plan makers are described herein by the word dushkrutinaha or miscreants. Kriti means one who has performed meritorious work. The atheist plan maker is also very intelligent and meritorious also, because any gigantic plan, good or bad, must take intelligence to execute. But because the atheist's brain is improperly utilized in opposing the plan of the Supreme Lord, the atheistic plan maker is called Dushkruti, which indicates that his intelligence and efforts are misdirected. In the Gita, it is clearly mentioned that material energy works under the direction of the Supreme Lord. It is not independent. It works as the shadow moves in accordance with the movements of the object. But material energy is still very powerful, And the atheist, due to his godless temperament, cannot know how it works, nor can he know the plan of the Supreme Lord. Under illusion and the modes of passion and ignorance, all his plans are baffled, as in the case of Hiranyakashipu and Ravana, whose plans were smashed to dust although they were both materially learned as scientists, philosophers, administrators, and educators. These Dushkrutinas or miscreants are of four different patterns as outlined below. The Mudas are those who are grossly foolish, like hard-working beasts of burden. They want to enjoy the fruits of their labor by themselves and so do not want to part with them for the supreme. The typical example of the beast of burden is the ass or donkey. This humble beast is made to work very hard by his master. The donkey does not really know for whom he works so hard day and night. He remains satisfied by filling his stomach with a bundle of gas, sleeping for a while under fear of being beaten by his master, and satisfying his sex appetite at the risk of being repeatedly kicked by the opponent party. The ass sings poetry and philosophy sometimes, but this braying sound only disturbs others. This is the position of the foolish fruitive worker who does not know for whom he should work. He does not know that karma, action, is meant for yajna, which is sacrifice. Most often, those who work very hard day and night to clear the burden of self-created duties say that they have no time to hear of the immortality of the living being. To such mudas, material gains, which are destructible, are everything. Despite the fact that the mudas enjoy only a very small fraction of the fruit of labor, sometimes they spend sleepless days and nights for fruitive gain, and although they have no ulcers or indigestion, they are satisfied with practically no food, and they are simply absorbed in working hard day and night for the benefit of illusory masters. They are also ignorant of the real master, and they waste their valuable time serving Mammon. Unfortunately, they never surrender unto the Supreme Master of all masters, Lord Krishna, nor do they take time to hear of him from the devotees. They eat the night soil and do not care to accept sweetmeats made of sugar and ghee. Similarly, the foolish worker will untiringly continue to hear of the sense enjoyable tidings of the flickering mundane world, but will have very little time to hear about the eternal living force that moves the material world. Another class of Dushkruti or miscreant is called the Naradama, or the lowest of mankind. Nara means human being and Adama means the lowest. Out of the 8,400,000 different species of living beings, there are 400,000 human species. Out of these, there are numerous lower forms of human life that are mostly uncivilized. The civilized human beings are those who have regulative principles of social, political, and religious life. The Naradamas have no religious principles, and nor is religion without God called religion, because the purpose of religious principles is to know the supreme truth and man's relationship with him. In the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead clearly states that there is no authority above him and that he is the supreme truth. The civilized form of human life is meant for reviving the lost consciousness of his eternal relation with the supreme truth, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who is all powerful. Whoever loses this chance is called a Naradama. We get information from the revealed scriptures that when the baby is in the mother's womb, an extremely uncomfortable situation, He prays to God for deliverance and promises to worship Him as soon as he gets out. To pray to God when he is in difficulty is a natural instinct in every living being because he is eternally related to God. But after he comes out, the child forgets the difficulties of birth and forgets his deliverer also, being influenced by Maya, the illusory energy. It is the duty of the guardians of children to revive the divine consciousness dormant in them. The 10 processes of reformatory ceremonies, as enjoined in the Manusmriti, which is the guide to religious principles, are meant for reviving God consciousness in the system of Varnashrama. However, no process is strictly followed now in any part of the world, and therefore most of the people is Naradama. When the whole population of becomes Naradama, naturally their so-called education is made null and void by the all-powerful energy of physical nature. According to the standard of Bhagavad Gita, a learned man is he who sees on equal terms the learned Brahmana, the dog, the cow, the elephant, and the dog eater. That is the vision of a true devotee. Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is the incarnation of Godhead as a spiritual master, delivered the typical Naradamas, the brothers Jagai and Madai, and he showed how the mercy of a real devotee is bestowed upon the lowest of mankind. So the Naradama who is condemned by the personality of Godhead can again revive his spiritual consciousness only by the mercy of a devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in propagating the Bhagavata Dharma or activities of the devotees, has recommended that people submissively hear the message of the personality of Godhead. The essence of this message is the Bhagavad Gita. The lowest amongst human beings can be delivered by the submissive hearing process only, but unfortunately they even refuse to give an oral reception to these messages, what to speak of surrendering to the will of the Supreme Lord. Naradamas, or the lowest of mankind, willfully neglect the prime duty of the human being. The next class of Dushkruti is called the Mayaya Pahrutagnyanaha, or those persons whose great knowledge has been covered by the influence of illusory material energy or Maya. There are mostly very learned fellows like great philosophers, poets, scientists, etc. But the illusory energy misguides them and therefore they disobey the Supreme Lord. There are a great number of Mayaya Pahrutagnyanaha at the present moment, even amongst scholars of the Bhagavad Gita. In the Gita, in plain and simple language, it is stated that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, there is none equal to or greater than him. He is mentioned as the father of Brahma, the original father of all human beings. In fact, Sri Krishna is said to be not only the father of Brahma but also the father of all species of life. He is the root of the impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. The super soul in every living entity is his plenary portion. He is the fountainhead of everything, and everyone is advised to surrender unto his lotus feet. Despite all these clear statements, the Mayaya Pahrutagnyanaha deride the personality of the Supreme Lord and they just consider him as another human being. They do not know that the blessed form of human life is designed after the eternal and transcendental feature of the Lord. All the unauthorized interpretations of the Gita by the class of Mayaya Pahrutagnyanaha outside the purview of the Parampara system are so many stumbling blocks on the path of spiritual understanding. The deluded interpreters do not surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, nor do they teach others to follow his principle. The last class of Dushkruti is called Ashram Bhava Mashritaha, or those of demonic principles. This class is openly atheistic. Some of them argue that the Supreme Lord can never descend upon this material world, but they are unable to give any logical reasons as to why not. There are others who make him subordinate to the impersonal feature, although the opposite is declared in the Gita. Envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the atheist will present a number of illicit incarnations manufactured in his brain. Such persons, whose very principle of life is to decry the personality of Godhead, cannot surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Sri Yamunacharya of South India said, "O my Lord, you are unknowable to persons involved with atheistic principles, despite your uncommon qualities, features, and activities, despite your personalities being confirmed by all the revealed scriptures in the quality of goodness, and despite your being acknowledged by the famous authorities renowned for their depth of knowledge in the transcendental science and situated in the godly qualities. Therefore, grossly foolish persons, the lowest of mankind, the deluded speculators, and lastly the professed atheists, as above mentioned, never surrender unto the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, in spite of all scriptural and authoritative advice." Thank you for watching, and I will tell the next shloka in the next video.